he wanted to hear that from a coach that they're invested in NIL and they're invested in the portal and what it can do for a
I
program.
think it was both ways, you know. I mean, that's just it's part of how all programs operate now, right? It's part of the success of all programs now, whether it's college basketball or football or anything else. And so that was definitely part of the conversation, you know, both ways. You know, he asked about it and we talked about it and talked about the strategy behind it and all of those things. So, so it's definitely a topic of conversation for sure, an important topic of conversation.
You were going through the process, talking to all these candidates. Towards the end, what was there something final that Steve was maybe told you that you were like, this is our guys, this is who I want right here?
I don't think there was one thing. I think it was just a combination of a lot of things, right? And we had a lot of conversation. I talked to a lot of people about him. And like I said, I had a lot of those common themes just over and over and over again about him. So it wasn't so much one thing. It was just, okay, this is everything. Just kind of kept reinforcing what I thought about him and what I was hearing about him. So that's what led to, I think, just knowing that this is our guy.
And what were some of the things that you heard the most from when you were talking to other people? What were kind of the top things you kept hearing over and over?
Yeah, just hard worker, genuine guy. You kind of see what you see is what you get. Sincere, great with players. Has great relationships with his players. High accountability, pushes players, pushes his team, but he can get that out of them because they know that he loves them. Has that kind of relationship with them. Lots and lots of connections. He's obviously been at all kinds of different levels of college basketball and has connections all over the country, and particularly in this part of the country in Oklahoma and Texas. And all of those people couldn't say anything better about him. They love the guy. And so, just the combination of all of those things, when you just hear that over and over and over again, just get the feeling that this is the guy that fits Oklahoma State.
I know they were busy playing in the tournament, but did you have a chance to talk to Matt Painter or Greg McDermott?
I did. Yep. I talked to Coach Painter. It was great. And he was busy with the tournament, so in the middle of everything, he took a significant amount of time out of his schedule to visit with me about him, and again, said all of those same things. I mean, couldn't have said better things about him, who he is as a person, and his tenacity and hard work ethic in recruiting, and who he is as a coach. So I really appreciate him and all the others that took the time to visit with me.
Does it sort of mean any, I know it's maybe not a reason to hire somebody, but does it mean anything to you that he coached under Matt Painter, who coached under Gene Cady, who coached under Coach Sutton?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I certainly, you don't go into it,
Right.
Thinking anything about, those connections other than, there's a reason those guys are Hall of Fame basketball coaches, right? Legendary basketball coaches that coached here. They won a lot of games, and there's a formula, I think, that works for winning a lot of games. And the truth of the matter is he has learned sort of from that lineage and that tree of what it is that, helps you win a lot of basketball games. But there's some realities. Games changed over time a little bit, but there's some realities that haven't changed and won't change, I don't think, about winning games. And so just knowing that those are some of his mentors and who he's learned under and how he's developed his coaching philosophy and all of those things, I think is an added, just an added benefit, but that's who makes him who he is and how he coaches. So, and that happens all over the country, whether, it's interesting who we say is part of trees and whatnot, but I think there are a lot of coaches that have picked up on those. I mean, my dad, when he was coaching, coached that way, and wouldn't say that he was part of the tree necessarily, but he watched and, knew that that's how a lot of teams won basketball games, so tried to do that. So, so that was definitely, I think, part of what we were looking for, whether it was kind of part of the tree or not. It was just those kind of coaching philosophies. you look at the teams that are playing in the tournament, certainly deep into the tournament, they're doing a lot of those things. And they play really good defensive basketball. You know, they are able to score the ball, and you know, and so those were things we were looking for.
He turned around a couple programs here pretty quickly.
Yep.
Where's the patience versus like, okay, Steve, go do your thing and turn
Well,
OSU?
you know, I think that you know, now things are just a little different. Nowadays, you can turn a program around quickly. I mean, just because of all the freedom of movement and those kinds of things. And so, it's good to know that you know he's got experience doing that, and I think that was you know part of it. You know, just seeing that there's experience in turning around a program, building a roster in that kind of amount of time, knowing what pieces he's looking for, and being able to put those things together, certainly was part of why we thought he was a good choice.
A few weeks ago, it was announced that you're on the national tournament committee. I mean, how did that opportunity rise, and you know, just get an opportunity?
So I'll be the it's a great opportunity. I'm excited about it, and obviously feel very fortunate to get that opportunity. So I'll be the Big 12's representative to it, to the committee, and so Commissioner Jormark nominated me for that position, and was approved. So.
What does that look like as far as like what you'll actually be doing, rather than just
Well, that's exactly. I'll be learning a lot more about that in the coming months, and it is one of the things I've heard about it is that it is a lot of work. You'll watch a lot of basketball games, be around a lot of really, really good people, which is probably what I'm most excited about, is the opportunity to meet new people and be around other committee members and people involved with college basketball. But one of the downsides of it, if you will, I guess, is that it's a 5-year term. So for 5 years, I will not be at the Big 12 Conference basketball tournament. I will not be with our team at the NCAA tournament. But that is because I'll be fulfilling the committee role. But one of the things I told Coach Lutz is, look, my goal in all of this is to have to get up and leave the room when the committee is talking about my team.
Yeah.
So don't make me sit in that room the whole time. I want to have to leave. So no, that is the goal.
I think announcement to announcement was 18 days. So was there pressure to wrap it up soonly, and why? Not why, but kind of just talk about your process and with the transfer portal going on. Just kind of go through all of that, and just the length of it.
Well, the transfer portal is the transfer portal, and you're not going to. I mean, you can name a coach in 2 days, and the transfer portal is still going to probably be what it's going to be. So, you just have to. My way I approached it is I block all that out. I'm making a long-term decision here. I'm hoping that this is the last basketball coach I ever have to hire, right? And so I can't focus on 5 days or 10 days or 8. I didn't even know. I didn't even know what number of days. I wasn't tracking that. I wasn't thinking that way. This was a long-term hire, and the only thing I was worried about is making the best decision for Cowboy basketball and OSU that I could make, and try to get the right coach in here.
Along those lines, let's go back even farther. How difficult was the decision to come to that you needed to make a change?
Yeah, that's the worst part of the job for sure. Nothing that I ever want to do. I love Coach Boynton. Great person, great human being, great family, and so didn't something you don't ever really want to do. But at some point you just have to, you reach the point that that is the right decision for the program. And in some ways, I believe in the long run, it'll be the right decision for him too. He's going, I truly believe he'll be great. And so, you just reach that point where you just have to, do what you think is right for the program moving forward, for the student athletes in the program. So, but it's hard. It is really, really hard, and because it affects a lot more people than just the head coach and his family too. And so you have a real, a real sense and appreciation for all the ramifications that's going to have, and so you don't take it lightly. I thought a lot about it, and but yeah, just have to get to that decision.
How did Steve end up on your radar?
A couple of questions here. He's actually got a function that he's got to get to right after this. Go ahead.
How did Steve get on your radar in the first place? Like, how did you sort of start thinking about him as a candidate?
Yeah, well, as we, the first thing was kind of trying to define ideally what it was that we were looking for. What are the things that, the traits, if you will, or the core things that we were looking for. And so, I mentioned it, in the press conference, we were looking for somebody who had head coaching experience, somebody who had been successful, in their time as a head coach, and then the fit. And obviously you don't know a whole lot about the fit until you get in the process with them. But as you looked around the country at the coaches that kind of fit the first couple of things, he was definitely in that pool, right? And so right off the bat, he was in our group of coaches that we were interested in talking to. And so when we had the opportunity to visit with him, then you start learning about the fit and how his philosophy of coaching and how he deals with players and just all of those things. And the more you talk to him, the more you hear, and then, like I said, the more you talk to other people about him, he just kept elevating.
Was there something in that first conversation he said that really stands out to you now, that sort of made you start to feel, okay, this might be the right direction?
Yeah, I don't know that there was one thing. There were a lot of things, and I think that I guess the best way to say it in that first conversation, there was nothing that I thought was alarming or that wasn't a fit or any of those things. So it was more, I think, that just felt good about that initial conversation. Just I wanted to learn more at that point, and in that process of learning more, like I said, it just kept kind of getting better and better and better.
With recruiting being such a focal point, what does it say to you that Coach Lutz has recruited several of these guys who are on the Purdue Final Four team right now?
That was definitely part of it. It was definitely part of what Coach Painter and I talked about. Coach Painter said, look, he is a big part of why we are where we are, a big part of it. And so that obviously resonates. And I think just, again, confirmed a lot of the things that we had heard from others about him. Just his hard work ethic, his tenacious, he's tenacious recruiting. I mean, once he's on somebody, he keeps working it, right? And building that relationship. And so, when Coach Painter, said that, and I'm like, okay, this is all lining up and all checking all the boxes.